Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Here's a piece from Jesse Waters and a small interview, podcast, I believe, with Michelle Obama. It looks like, now I'm not trying to fuel the fire here, but it looks like she's setting herself up to run for president. Do the Democrats have hope with Joe Biden? Actually, zero. They get to have him walk away. They stop Trump from a second term by Biden winning. And now Obama, I personally believe, in a roundabout way, wants his fourth term, being his third term was Joe Biden's. So let's take a look and comment along the way at what Michelle Obama has to say.
He wants to prosecute Trump in the dark this year. Some very powerful people are watching this, and they've had enough. The Obamas say Joe Biden's going to lose, so they're staging a hostile takeover. Obama World is telling everyone who will listen in Washington that the Biden campaign is complacent, unimaginative, and they don't understand the threat of losing to Trump.
Well, they are complacent. They are unimaginative. And that's actually true. The threat of losing to Trump. I said this before, and I'll say it again. If the Democrats are smart, they would have let Trump win his second term. And a lot of good and bad things would have been happening in the world and in the country. And Trump would have been gone. And the American people would have been better off. And the Democrats could have fielded a decent candidate and made a run of it. But no, they didn't do that. They had to get Trump out, and they're still trying to get him out. Are the Obamas calling the shots? Yeah, probably. That and their surrogates. Let's listen.
Team Biden says Biden is way too zen. I think when he says way too zen, he means barely alive, but I don't want to put words in the former president's mouth. The Washington Post is reporting Obama has been visiting Biden at the White House to tell him he needs a full overhaul of his campaign. Obama is pushing Biden to move his political operation outside of and beyond his White House advisors. Translation, Barack and Michelle are taking over.
That's exactly right. I believe it to be true. Now, maybe not them only, but a whole group of people that know, and they've proved in the past, how to win elections through lies, innuendos, attack. You're going to see Obama ex-official is saying what the Democrats should do. They want to go on the offensive. I guess 5 or 6 indictments try to take Trump's businesses away from him and put him in jail for the rest of his life, frankly, isn't enough. Well, what else could they possibly do? I can think of one thing, but this website won't allow it. Let's listen on.
And the media agrees.
President Biden needs to listen. He needs to ramp up the attacks. He did yesterday. He needs to stop running ads that say, I did a great job, and start running ads saying this guy is a threat. Democracy, to your abortion rights, to your Social Security. Everything has to be Trump. Everything. I have a 7-step plan for Biden's reelection. And you can memorize them because I did them in alphabetical order. Attack.
But
Oh, how clever. I put them in alphabetical order. Like could they possibly attack Trump more than they already have? Social Security, abortion, democracy, those are things they're going to go after? I want to ask people out there that are anti-Trump, what could you do when Trump was president that you couldn't do with Obama or Biden? Your democracy, your rights have not been tarnished at all. Zero. None. And by I believe, God intervention, Trump got to put 3 justices on the Supreme Court. Thank God for that. I believe that was divine intervention, but that's just me. Yeah. Attack. There's only one other attack they could pull on President Trump that they haven't, and I can't mention it here because this website won't allow it.
Biden's trying to throw Trump in prison for the rest of his life, strip his business license, strip him off the ballot, and just call him a combination of Hitler and King George III. And the Obamas think he should go on the attack? I'm afraid to ask what this new level of attack would look like. But if Trump isn't damaged goods by the convention, Michelle Obama's positioning herself as Plan B.
What's going to happen in this next election? I am terrified about what could possibly happen because our leaders matter. Who we select, who speaks for us, who holds that bully pulpit. It affects us in ways that sometimes I think people take for granted. You know, the fact that people think that government, does it really even do anything? And I'm like, oh my God, does government do everything for us? And we cannot take this democracy for granted.
Government do everything for us. And there is the problem. Government, the way it was set up by the founders, I don't want to go into a lot of detail, but the states created the federal government, basically as overseers, babysitters, if you will, if the states went too far. They want government to control everything. Remember the healthcare fiasco, the Obamacare? That if you didn't go into it, you were actually fined. You couldn't afford the Obamacare premiums, but if you didn't pay them, they would fine you on fines you can't afford. Remember that. Remember that. And also what's going to happen is all these tens of millions of illegal aliens in this country currently, whether they know about them or not, they're going to offer amnesty. The only criticism I have of Ronald Reagan is he made him deal with Tip O'Neill for amnesty. Disaster. Disaster. Let's listen on.
And sometimes I worry that we do. Those are the things that keep me up.
Our leaders matter? Is she talking about Trump or Biden? Hard to tell. But the former First Lady, who rarely expresses her political views so pointedly, is sending out the bat signal.
What is the thing that keeps you up at night?
More to do with the world that we're in. There's such a thing as knowing too much. It could be any range of things that comes across the desk of the leader of the free world, right? So I know a lot about what's going on, and what keeps me up are the things that I know.
You look up overachiever. President Obama and Michelle Obama's pictures in the dictionary. I mean, you got to be kidding, right? I do have to say this, though. President Barack Obama, I have to be, respectful because he is a former president, is an incredibly gifted politician. I don't like what comes out of his mouth either, but he's very charismatic, and he's an excellent public speaker. Excellent public speaker. And those are two great traits to have, but he can't use them anymore. So he's going to have a surrogate with his wife. What else are the Democrats going to do? Biden can't run again. They all know that. If he runs again, it's a disaster for him. So they got to pick somebody else. Who are they going to pick? Amy Klobuchar? Gavin Newsom? That whack job governor from Colorado? Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan? You got to be kidding me. As the young girls say, ew. They have nobody. They have to go back to a proven producer of votes, and that is the Obamas. If she gets in, all hell's going to break loose. I don't think they can win with her. And even with her husband going all over the country, as charismatic as he is, does she still have the charm of 12 years ago? We'll have to see. Remember, it was the Obamas that threw Hillary Clinton under the bus, and Hillary Clinton threw Bernie Sanders under the bus.
The war in the region, in too many regions. What is AI going to do for us? The environment, are we moving at all fast enough? What are we doing about education?
The war in the region. She's probably talking about Palestine, Hamas, Israel, but she's also talking about Ukraine, Russia. Remember this. Russia made zero moves for territory in Ukraine or anywhere else when Trump was president. They got Crimea when her husband was president, and they're going to get a lot of Ukraine under Biden as president. So obviously their foreign policy sucks. Everybody's threatening everybody. Remember the pallet filled of $1 billion in cash plus sent to Iran on a U.S. Army aircraft to pay them off. Remember that one? That's their foreign policy. And it was a disaster. A disaster.
Are people going to vote? And why aren't people voting? I mean, those are the things that keep me up, because you don't have control over them. And you wonder.
Why aren't people voting? You mean flood the system with absentees? Universal mail-in ballots? I think she's implying that. Of course, maybe I'm reading too much because I have a bias against her and her ideas.
Where are people? Where are we in this? Where are our hearts?
Michelle Obama is talking about war.
Where are we in our hearts? I pray, no matter who the Democrats put up, Biden, Michelle Obama, or another Democrat, our hearts are in the right place, but more importantly, our brains. Do not vote with your heart. Vote with your intelligence. Voting with your heart has always been a disaster.
Talking about artificial intelligence? This woman isn't just a fruit juice tycoon. She could be running. She even uncorked a new economic plan. Mandatory trickle-down economics.
Now, I want you to listen what she says next. And I want you to be very, very afraid.
We have this trickle-down approach, right? That's the basis of a capitalistic economy, right? But that's not happening.
Yes.
It's not trickling. The law.
Now, this is from an individual. Her and her husband have made tens of millions of dollars for doing basically nothing but breathing. Tens of millions. I believe they own 3 mansions. Oh, by the way, they believe in climate change and their oceans rising, but yet they bought a multi-million-dollar mansion right along the coastline, literally on the beach. Tens of millions just because of their name. Those of you out there that are big Obama fans or Democrat fans, President Barack Obama won the Nobel Peace Prize. And ask any Obama supporter what he won the prize for. What did he do? And all you get is crickets. Nobody can figure out what he did besides winning an election. Look at the Abraham Accords. All the other things that Trump did would more than qualify. Just the Abraham Accords alone and peace in the Middle East and Russia not expanding should have won a Nobel Peace Prize. Yet, he will never get one, ever. Ever. Listen what she says. Mandatory.
It would require, in whatever way, if we're not trickling voluntarily, then we need to be forced to trickle.
Then we need to be forced to trickle. We're going to take other people's money by force at point of a gun, as all laws are, in the end, and give it to who we feel deserves it. That way they'll vote for us again and again and again. That should scare the hell out of you.
Mandatory trickling down.
Yeah.
Mandatory trickling down, AKA theft. They tried that. And how many socialist and communist countries? Several dozen. And in the 20th century alone, communism and socialism, as just a low ball estimate, has killed between 125 and 150 million people. And I'm being kind with that number. It's probably twice that. That's what she's advocating for.
Forced to trickle. She's talking about Biden? Could this be worse than Bidenomics? Nothing could be worse. Who knows about Michelle's mandatory trickle? But Michelle wants you to remember it wasn't the Obama-Biden White House. It was the Barack and Michelle White House. Listen to how she uses the words we.
I'm so proud of my husband and the way he led the way his administration worked, the team that we built.
It was a disaster. A disaster in foreign policy, especially. Obamacare was a disaster. Want more of the same. Are there going to be enough Democrats, Obama Democrats? Where are the old school baby boomers like myself? I'm 67. They were lifelong Democrats. Are they going to fall for this crap again? Again?
So proud of everyone. I think that's because of who we are.
Did she just forget to mention Joe Biden?
Who we are grifters and opportunists that made themselves multi-millionaires after they were president. When I say they, I mean him and her, President Obama and his wife. We. Is she setting herself up? Is she really?
Michelle, as your husband said, you didn't build that. But if I were Joe Biden, I don't know who I'd fear more, Trump or her.
Yes, exactly right. Biden can't make it. He's not going to make it. I don't know if he knows that or not. I don't even know if his inner circle knows that, since they're so cloistered from reality. If Michelle Obama decides to run, remember, Mrs. Obama, to be respectful, a former first lady tried to run for president several times. Your husband and you screwed her over. First female president, and you guys screwed her over. Isn't that interesting? And nobody said a word. It was you that steamrolled over Hillary Clinton. We're going to have to see how this works out. But the last time a former first lady ran for president, she lost. Let's hope and pray, and I mean this so sincerely, that she is not the candidate. Because frankly, I think she has the best chance of any Democrat. And that scares the hell out of me. And it should scare the hell out of you. What do you think? And until next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.